Okay, this is basic core You Build It sales that I want to review again. And I want everyone to remember this. I'm going to try to label it and I want to go over it in as much detail as possible. We have a series of 6 sales. And if you prefer closes, I am great with saying we have 6 closes. All right. If you will follow this, this is as close to having a system for selling You Build It that I know of. If you will do this, each sale is, I don't want to say easy, but dadgummit, each sale is easy. The progress is easy. You just do your system. You just do your steps. It will take care of itself from there. It is a system sales. System sales are much easier. You have to have some skill. You got to push, you got to close, but not near as much. And it keeps things clean. You don't have one client, why did he or why did she and why did they? Everything is consistent. Everything flows. You get some legal issue, which should never pop up, but does. You don't have to have it memorized. You're able to say, I do the exact same thing, the exact same way every time. Here's 300 people that can verify, yep, that's how I did it, yep. I know exactly what I say and I know exactly where I say it. As big and broad and unique and customized as sales is, that process holds. So I want to go over each sale and I want to stress and emphasize it. Sale number 1 is a lead. Sale number 1 is getting someone to ask about You Build It. A really great one is somebody that goes on the website and sends a request for more information. A guy walking in your door is good. A sales call is good, a little harder to handle. We'll handle that in next week's sales training. But honestly, a guy stopping you at the gas station is a lead. If you got a branded shirt and they ask you about it, that counts. If you are in your branded vehicle and they ask about it, that counts. Now, the only caveat I will give you is it's hard to work a lead if you don't have a name, phone number, and email. Now, am I saying then that if you don't have a name, phone number, and email, they don't count as a lead? Absolutely not. Because subconsciously you will make sure that you accidentally don't get one of them so you don't have to feel like you had to count them as a lead so you didn't fail at any level. By the way, quick side note, very important. Fear of failure is the #1 cause for failure to sell. Why do people not close? This should be a whole nother category. We'll deal with it another day. Why don't people close? Because they're afraid of rejection. What is the greatest fear in the human heart? Fear of rejection. Period. Bar none. Ultimate. You're friggin' born with it. Core of your soul is fear of rejection. No matter how good you are, no matter how great you are, you have doubts and you're afraid of being told no. The more important it is, the bigger a deal it is, the closer it is to your heart, the more necessary, the greater that fear. Because that no becomes a bigger thing. All right, huge, need to go over that another day, but don't let yourself have an out. Force yourself to not have outs. That will block you from being able to block yourself, allowing fear of rejection to stop you from closing in the way you should. Again, another reason for having a system. You have to follow it. You have to follow it right. It stops you from being able to get in your own way. So that is a perfect lead, but anyone is a lead. The only caveat I'm going to give you to that is home shows are like lead mecca. But somebody stopping at your booth and you talk to them doesn't count. If you can't at least get one of these, they don't count. Hopefully you will get a ton. Now, a side note on that, that's the reason at home shows I learned years ago, what is my close? Why are they going to give me this information? So I always started running free home building seminars. Sign up for your free home building seminar. We have a home building, always within 10 days of a home show, you have a seminar. It gives you something to sell. It gives you a close. It gives them a reason to give you their information. And yes, you can get thousands if you'll give away a bicycle and have a raffle. Bleh. You might as well grab the phone book and call people. So, sale number one is getting a lead. How do you get that? We're going to go over this a little bit. Home shows. Again, the Mecca. If you're a small office with low expenses, you can literally make a living doing nothing but this. Internet advertising. Part of that we do. Big part is the website. Update your website, by the way. People that are interested in you will review you a number of times before they will contact you. Don't bore them. And I am guilty of that myself, yes. Another is media. Media is classic TV, radio. Another is print. And I'm going to put billboards in the middle, because I don't truly know whether I want to throw them in this market or throw them in that market. They're better than print, worse than the other. Another is job site signs. That is my absolute favorite. That is the strongest lead you get. Well, possibly followed by referrals. Referrals, which quite often have a tie to this, are obviously your best. Lastly is the big G, guerrilla marketing. Guerrilla marketing is your branded shirt, your branded vehicle, walking around with brochures, handing stuff to people that you see at the gas station, having some DVDs to give them, having some extra brochures to give them, buying the bandit signs and putting them out in the neighborhoods. Anything that cost is low, return is high. The quality of the lead isn't the highest, but it doesn't stink. And if you can actually see them and they can meet you and they can feel you and they can feel your passion, that's a big help. These are all different ways. The close is them asking for information. At a home show, you got to ask for it. In guerrilla, sometimes you got to ask for it. Internet, you do your work by keeping your updates. Media, you got to do the ads. You got to run them. Print, same thing, although I hate print. Job site signs. If somebody signed a contract with you, put a sign in the yard. Seriously. If you're not going to break ground for 6 months, put a sign in the yard. Have your job site sign in the yard. And referrals are asked for them, and we'll come to that more later. So that is sale number one. Let me ask y'all a question. And I know my back's to you, but hopefully you're following me. Can you sign a contract to somebody who you have never met? Can you build a house for someone who you don't know their name, phone number, email? The answer is no. You got to have that to get to the next. Sale number two. So sale number one is getting a lead. That's on your marketing. Okay? Sale number two, the most important, the Star-Spangled Banner of sales, presentation. Get them in for a presentation. Presentation is the most important sale you make. Period. Here's the kicker. You got a lead? What are you selling? I hope you answered the presentation. Don't skip to 3, don't skip to 4, don't skip to 5. You get a lead, you're not trying to sell them a house. You meet a guy at a home show, what are you selling? You meet a guy at a home show, you are not selling you build it. You are not selling the house. You are not selling the contract. You are not truly even selling yourself. You are selling the presentation. Period. Sale number 2 is the presentation. Sale number 1 is advertising, get somebody to say, hey, what you build it? Sale number 2, everything you do should be 100% about getting them in for a presentation. If you have to tell them a little bit about you to get there, of course you do. A girl doesn't go on a date with you without at least having visited with you a little bit. But if you find out some girl's interested, I don't know, I've never done that. Let's try to use Match.com, and she responds back. You call and you chat yourself up a little, you chat her up a little, you guys have the date, right? The date's the presentation. If you called and said, by the way, before we do go on this very far, let me tell you everything that's gone wrong with every relationship I ever had. Let me tell you things I tend to do bad on a date. Let me tell you everything I do good on a date. I want to explain everything to you in extreme detail so you know exactly what every date with me is going to be like. If that gets you a date, you weren't on Match.com in the first place. All right? You done been married, baby. Oh, you have to give enough. Remember what you're trying to sell. You're selling the presentation. Next week's sales training is going to be handling sales calls. We've done it before, we're going to do it again. But what is the correct way to do that? Because most of this is going to happen on the phone. I have found a number of ways. This is number one path. Here, let's go over here. Email. The second you get a lead, you should put them in your database. You should shoot them at least 1 or 2 pre-formatted emails you have, and then you should give them a phone call. Another is a DVD. I know a lot of y'all hate it. It's all right. Go ahead. It works awful freaking good for me. It washes a lot of stuff out. It gives a lot of information. We have found it very valuable. Feel free to debate that as you wish. If you don't want to, go ahead. I find it works great. I drop one in the mail that day. If you're not going to send the DVD, then you need to deal with people that are old school, and you need to put something in the mail. Have a nice formal letter drafted, include a triplicate brochure, mail one of the big brochures if you have one, and send your business card. But you're going to have to get something in the mail to them right away. The ultimate purpose of these is to get them to take this, to receive your call or to call you back. Because on the phone is when you're going to close them on coming in for the presentation. So you take the lead, you do these things, and you schedule the presentation, and you get them in the office. Okay? So what is the third close? What are you selling at the presentation? This is one where some of you are going to vary from me. Again, do your deal. I'm telling you what I know works. Heck, it's what most of you paid me for. Bank. You are selling the bank. This close is getting them to contact the lender. This is not a religion. This is not some big thing. This isn't, oh, well, you haven't gotten approved at the lender, oh, then I can't sign yet. No. But it is an easy sell. Little side note, by the way, and again, we're going to do another sales presentation, how they should flow and other things soon. Remember the old hour-and-a-half measure. If your presentation lasts over 2 hours, you are so golden, Fort Knox is calling you, baby. If it lasts less than an hour, you might as well slap them in the face while they're leaving so you can get something out of it, because you ain't selling nothing. It's garbage. Over an hour and a half, your positive goes exponentially. Under an hour and a half, it drops exponentially. A very low percentage of people that stay in a presentation for an hour to an hour and a half are going to sign a contract. At an hour and a half, that number goes up dramatically. Over 2 hours, it's almost 100%. You want to be safe, say 80%. To the point, I'm dead serious. As you're learning to get going, You glance at the clock, you know you're an hour and 45 minutes in, find a way to make it last 2 hours. Lay down in front of the door. You can't leave any more time. I don't care. Lock it. Slap their hand. Where do you think you're going? We're not done yet. Find something. Find a way to make it go. Get the 2 hours. You will never do that again. You will fill the gaps before. Your meetings will start lasting 2 to 2.5 hours. That is the goal. You can't bond somebody correctly in that time. Here's a fact, guys, what you need to tell them, what they need to know about you, what you have to share. If you can't cover it in 15 minutes, you need to give me a call. You probably cover it in 5. What they need to hear from you is 15 minutes max. What they need to hear from you to move forward is you hearing from them. That's what the other hour and 15 minutes plus is all about. So remember those numbers. Now, the close at the end of the presentation is hand them the takeaway brochure. You should have You Build It takeaway brochures there, and have some little stuff in the back in your business card. You should have a letter from the lender, as well as the lender's information either on that letter or business card stapled to it. And if there's other calls to actions, you do it. But what you're going to restate is what your next steps are. If your next step is, "Oh, I don't know where I want to build or anything," okay, you got to find land, but you also should get pre-approved. Go look at these neighborhoods. Well, you got whatever. But majority of the time, your next step is, "Hey, thank you very much. If you have any questions, any follow-up, and you're going to call or email me anytime, I will get back with you as soon as possible. I'm not immediately available. You're going to go home and you're going to digest this. And even though we went over a ton, you're going to have follow-up questions. It's what I'm here for. It was great to meet you. I look forward to answering those." Your next step is contacting the lender and getting to basic pre-qualification. Their information, you open the brochure, you say their information's right here, just call them, go to the website if you just want to do it direct, email her, whatever you like. I'll give them your basic information as well so that they know to be hearing from you, and they may even try to call you first to be helpful. Great guys, you're going to love them, but that's your next. So if you have any questions, contact me. Otherwise, your next step is contact the bank. It's that easy to close, people. It's that easy to close. We already went through all this. I spent 2 hours with you. If you got a problem, we done addressed that. I already handled your objections. Dealing with your objections was part of the presentation. Answering those. There is no logical step at the end of the presentation other than to move forward with me. Well, it's a big swallow to say, "Hey, that was a good presentation, wasn't it? Yeah, that went real good. Well, here's the contract." I was like, "This is a real good first date. You want to head on down to the chapel and get married now, or you want to schedule it for tomorrow?" Whew, big boy, give me some time. Contact the bank? What's that? That's just the next step. This went great. Of course we're going on the next step. This first date was phenomenal. Of course I'll take your call tomorrow. This first date was great. Of course we'll go on another one next week. It's just the next step. It was a lovely date. Of course you can walk me to my door. It's the next step. It's nothing. That already went good. Contacting the bank, why not? What's the harm? They're not you. There's no commitment there. I'm just finding out. It's kind of fun. It's like you're online. It's like, IQ test. Nobody will know. Totally anonymous. Oh, I wonder how smart I am. You all done it. And we all know that we're a genius now that we've taken it, and our IQ is like 180, which is phenomenal. And if it was 60, hopefully you're smart enough to know you add a 1 in front of that. So that you come out being at least a 160. So why not? No big deal. Easy, easy close. Easy close. Just talk to the bank, find out, get pre-approved, and we'll take it from there. Okay? You go back to your office and you make notes. Detailed notes of the presentation. Yeah, I'll quit there and just call it Prezi. greatly detailed notes. Then I want you to instantly, as soon as that's done, copy those notes, write an email to your lender that you're using, put in the client's name, all their contact info, address, phone number, cell phone number, email address, especially email address, and then details what they're looking to do, and then copy your notes so they can go in smart. You follow up with the people. Everything from here is getting them to contact them. A good lender will contact that client within 24 hours. Hopefully you did such a good job, they've already contacted the lender beforehand. Hopefully you've done such a good job, they went ahead and got on the website and have already applied. But I find of these, about 10% will apply automatically, about 10% will go ahead and call. Of the remaining 80%, for the life of me, I don't know why, 20% of them will not take another call. I don't know. But the remaining 60% won't contact the bank, but they will take the banker's call. And they almost always apply. Now, why do we go this route? Because the next sale, the big sale, the hardest sale, as far as getting the client to do, is signing an agreement. As I said, going from the date to the wedding chapel, tough. They got to have something more from you. It was the best first date ever. I know I'm going to marry him. I know I'm going to marry him. It was phenomenal. You still got to get a little something. You got to get some, and I don't mean that dirty. I mean, you got to get some commitment. You got to get some time. You got to put in some hours. It doesn't matter. We got to bond a little bit. Well, this is a nice, gentle way to do it. Now, you've got to stay in contact, all right? You can't just say, I sent it to the bank, waiting on the banker. You got to follow up. You got to follow up. You got to follow up, people. You got to make the calls. Hey, did you talk to the lender? Why not? Okay, I failed on this sale. Let's go back and go there. Hell, I'm going with my own lender. Well, great. How'd that go? Because if they decide not to talk to your guy, but they talk to theirs and are approved, how do you know to go to the next? Which, by the way, I'm going to skip forward and then I'm going to come back. This is easy if all this went correctly. Because you know what happens? They take the lender's call. He gets the basic information. I don't want a detailed. I do not need the full audit approval. I need to know, assuming you're not lying to me and you can actually provide the backup for your income and you have your tax returns, have a job, you will qualify for XYZ. I call him. He says, that's great. You're approved. This lender better call me immediately, possibly before calling them, saying they're good to go. And I call them and I say, hey, congratulations. Well, what do you mean? Just talked to John Dalton and y'all are approved. When do you want to start? Some version, use your own words. It'll have a few more sentences in there, but it is some version of congratulations. When do you want to start? That's it. Once you say, when do you want to start, we go back to the old-fashioned sales, which we'll go over another time again, of shut the heck up. Because now they got to commit. They're going to commit, they're going to sign. You will be amazed how friggin' easy it is to get somebody to say, well, because it was easy to talk to the bank. But something magical happens. When you talk to the bank, and you get approved, you got money now. It's like getting that credit card. You don't need it. You weren't going to use it. You weren't going to buy anything. Holy cow, it's got $5,000 on it. Let's go spend it. Something magical happens when they hear they're approved. Talking to the bank, that's just not a Q test. Well, I'm a genius. I need to apply for Mensa. You're approved. I was going back to the IQ test thing, by the way. You might as well do something with it. Well, heck yeah, I guess. Well, how's tomorrow? And if they stammer at you, you don't have to be rude. If it's, well, I'm not sure. Well, how's y'all's day tomorrow? I got an opening at 3. Or, honestly, I got to be in the office on Saturday. I can do it sometime then. answer. They're not going to come with the major rebuttal. The biggest rebuttal is, well, I guess I need to see what Jenny's got. By the way, quick side note on closing this. It is best if you say, would you rather I pencil y'all in for tomorrow or Saturday? And you can just get back to me once you've confirmed it with Jenny. Get a little commitment out of them. Don't say, oh, we'll talk to Jenny and give me a call. Pencil it in. It's not committed. I'm not going to hold you. But what do you think is going to be better for you and Jenny? Tomorrow at 3 or Saturday at 10? Let me pencil it in so the secretary doesn't overfill, so I don't overfill, so I don't overstock, whatever. Get that little gentle commitment. Oh, probably Saturday. Jenny works like, perfect. I'll plan on Saturday. Call me when you know or shoot me an email, text, whatever works for you to confirm. Otherwise, I'll just see you then. And if there's a problem with it all, we'll just pick another date. Excited to get going. Now, by the way, do you need me to have a designer there when we sign the agreement? Whatever, flow through, okay? Presentation is to contact the lender. Once you have approval on lender, you sign an agreement. I have a couple other things I got to go over here and I don't want to miss them. First is, I'm going to leave that word because this is part of it. You got to follow up, guys. You have a percentage of people, that 10%, they're going to leave this, they're going to do this, they're going to do this. Life is tight, life is poor, life is hard, living on the 10%. Okay? The others got to be followed up. They got to be pursued. It's the shy girl, it's the insecure girl, it's the proud boy, it's the whatever. That they got to be pursued, they got to be courted, they got to be chased. However you want to view it, they got to feel the love. Or sometimes they just got to be pestered. Oh, all right, I'll talk to the lender. Oh, okay, I'll come in. Oh, I'll go sign the contract on the land. Jeez Louise, always be polite, always be friendly, but stay in touch. You shouldn't go to bed the day after a presentation without putting together a thank you email and sending it to them. Don't care about the lender. With the next day, you should be doing a follow-up call. Hey, John, just wanted to see how things went, see if you had any follow-up questions. I know there was a lot to it. Did the lender get a hold of you and answer any questions and help you out on that? Because, hey, you make that call. They go, well, no, I was hoping he was going to call. I can't believe he didn't. I'll take care of that right away. 2 things, by the way. That response told you this person is done and ready to play. And number 2, you need to spank the living crud out of your lender because he whoop him. He's making more money than you are off this deal. He needs to get on that phone and get to work. Or she, as the case may be. You got to do that follow-up call. And if it's a message, leave the message. And you can't call the very next day, but you can the day after that. And guys, I'm going to tell you, a week shouldn't pass in the next 4 months you don't call them. And a month shouldn't pass from that point till hell freezes over that you don't call them. Until the day comes that they say, leave me alone. That's when you stop calling them. Other than that, you friggin' call. I've had people I did a presentation to, and I'm good at getting to know folks. I'm good at learning their deals. I'm good at following up. I thought the presentation went great. I never could get through. I could leave us messages for as much as over 4 years, literally over 4.5 years. They were done. They just had some things that had to line up in their life. I hate that I missed them. I hate I didn't know it. But you can't learn everything. But 4.5 years, they walked in the door. Okay, we're ready to start. I got my check. Is it still the same $2,500 signed? Unbelievable. Appreciate the heck out of the monthly message I would leave. Appreciate the heck out of the twice a month emails we send. And they opened them and followed them all. You got to stay with them. Okay, lastly, and this is why, and I'm backing up one, okay? I think a lot of you blow this, and it hurts here because you give stuff away. What did your grandma tell your mom? Why buy the cow when the milk's free? Love that phrase. We in America today believe the milk should always be free. We have, let's be honest, an immoral society. We have a society that believes I need to have, enjoyed the milk for years, just decide I want the cow. You have to be old school discipline and live by why buy the cow when the milk's free. What are our 5 stages of planning? Okay? Plans, land, spec, job costing, money, budget, whatever you want to call it. You're going to give them to the lender to get pre-approved. You're going to give a rough guesstimate. But if you're looking at their land and they haven't signed a contract, what's wrong with you? I know there are a few of you, by the way, I'm going to step totally out of this, that your sale is, let me go review your land with you. And at the land review is when you close them. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm going to say in certain parts of the country it works. So I want to take a little rabbit trail and go down that. If you don't have a lender, if you don't believe in that path, whatever, you like that one-on-one, go ahead and sell it. Sell the site review. Let's go review your land right now. And you better stay on top of that. You better own the fact that you replace sale number 3 with giving away your site visit. And at the site visit, you better have a contract in your hand. And if anyone thinks I don't know what I'm saying here, that is how I handle remodel sales. Because I found contacting the lenders tougher on remodel. They got to have a budget range. But guys, take the contract with you. When you're done at that site visit, you got to go for the big close. So stepping out of that, I challenge you, don't do it. Well, yeah, I'd love to talk to you about it. It's a big part of what I get paid for. Well, we need to work on our plans. I got a great designer to work with you. Oh, great. What's his name and number? Yeah, that's what I get paid for. It's part of why I get a check. At the very least, it's the reason you get it so crazy cheap is because of my relationship. But you go, well, here's my designer. Well, let me go see your land. Good gosh, why don't you just go ahead and do the spec meeting for free? Let's go through all the planning and make sure you like what it's going to cost to build your house. Quit giving away freebies. They will never buy the cow. You're giving them numbers to shop. Worst thing in the world is the car salesman that gives numbers to a guy. Every dealer in America will beat him by at least $100. You can't give it until you got the commitment to go. Okay? Don't give them away. Now, contact the lender, sign the agreement. Come in. This is going too long, so I'll save it for another day. We've got to review proper way to read through a contract. I know I've got it somewhere, but we'll do it again because we need to review the correct way to read through a contract because there's a right way and a wrong way. The 5th sale. Y'all staying with me so far? Number 1 is getting a lead. Number 2 is sale as a presentation. The 3rd sale is getting them to contact the lender. The 4th sale is getting them to sign a contract. The 5th is to close on construction loan. Tough sale because it is a long relationship. Matter of fact, I'm going to challenge you because we've been kind of playing with the metaphor. View this. How do you spell engagement? It's the engagement period. And I want to point out there's a lot more people you got to sell here than your prospective spouse, than your client. You've got the in-laws. We're going to call that the bank. You've got the church, the caterer, all those types of folks. We're going to call that the appraiser. You got your subs, your suppliers, that's the guest list. Vendors, if you prefer. You got to have a guest list. What fun's a wedding that doesn't have one? You might as well just got married on that first date. But they got to be worked. They got to be nurtured. You got to fill out the invitations. You got to send the invitation out. You got to make sure they come back. Hey, you never responded. I need to respond, s'il vous plaît. You've got to work your guest list. You got to know. Is the appraisal going to kill you? Sorry, this might be going a little old school on you, but going to the preacher and he says no. We got a minor problem to deal with. Is that too loud? Okay, good. Sorry about that. The in-laws can screw it up. Something could go wrong at the bank. Is this going to flow? You have 1 million outside people you got to sell, you got to deal with, you got to characterize through. At the same time, and how guilty are people of this? Some of you have been married and you're going, oh, that was me. I want to stay with the engaged thing. Don't forget about the person you're engaged to. Don't forget about your fiance. In this scenario, your clients. They need nurtured too. That guy you're engaged to, that girl you're engaged to, is stressing out while you're dealing with this stuff. They're worried how this is going. But you're so busy dealing with this, you're forgetting to communicate to them how that's going. Your clients have the same problem. You get so busy doing this and staying in your busy life, you forgot to communicate with them. They stress out, they freak out, they have an affair, they run away, they say no, whatever. You got to manage them. Don't forget the fiance. And here's the other deal. They're not going to get what they want. Remember the great episode of Friends where Ross is marrying the crazy Emily girl? Yes, I love that show. And they're in England, and the wedding, oh, this is the church where I was going to get married my whole life, my whole time. And it's been demolished. And she looks at it and goes, well, the wedding's off? If you can't do it here, it's off. Insane! But trust me, it happens. No big deal to you. Or even a big deal, but there's a solution to it. Your fiance's reaction, your client's reaction, very well might be, forget it then. The number of bumps in the road that are going to happen here are immeasurable. The number of times, if you're not staying with communication and holding your client's hand and making sure they understand what those bumps are, that they think that is a sign from God not to move forward, is unbelievable. And Lord, I'm not meaning to be sacrilegious. I hope I'm not. I truly am not going, but seriously. And if you don't want to, the universe, fate, what meant to, unbelievable. A bump in the road was a sign that we shouldn't be traveling this road. No, it's a sign that water got down there, froze, and created a pothole. It's life. We hit one. You know what you do? You go, oh, pothole, and you keep moving on. It's not a big deal. You have to communicate. You have to carry them through, and you have to carry all these people through. This is the longest, most detailed, believe it or not, most complicated one. The beauty of this one is, this is when you finally get paid. All the money you spent to get this one, all the effort you spent to get this one, all the cajoling you spent to get this one, all the follow-up and structure and promises you made to get here, all the incredible juggling that all was done to finally get the payday. So now a lot of you are thinking, what is the sixth sale? And it's possible it's even more important than any of the others. Because remember I told you I deal with job signs and referrals and all that? Sixth sale is a happy client, which equals referrals. This one is on whoever your superintendent is, whoever your consultant is. This one is on you by not just throwing your consultant and forgetting that you got to follow up. This one is not just saying, hey, yay, we're married, go out there and take care of things, and forgetting that you still every now and then got to bring home flowers. But mostly, this is on your consultant. Are you serving correctly? Are you doing things the right way? A whole lot of aspects of this I've gone over before, and I'm not going to bore you more today, but I'm going to challenge you, don't do too much. We all know, we're all guilty, especially those of you that are men that are watching this, and you women, you're going to laugh. We're all guilty of knowing our wife's upset. So that means do more, do more, do more. Here's more flowers, here's more of this. Why aren't you happy with me? Oh, and then we get mad. And it wasn't doing more that was ever needed. It was just doing the right thing in the first place. Don't overserve. Do what you sold. Just because you think it's better. This goes back to the metaphor I use on y'all all the time. It's a heck of a lot easier for them. But that is the worst teacher in America. Don't be the worst teacher in America. Okay? Remember, do what you did. Do what you sold. Do it right. Do it well. Have a happy client. You promised them savings, you better provide equity, you better provide the equity. You promised them support, guidance, advice, you better provide support, guidance, and advice. Don't you dare ever say, well, my time's family time. They have an emergency, they got to freak out at 2 a.m. on Saturday. You better have somebody, if not you, someone that's taking that call. Now, if they're calling you because, oh, I'm so nervous about whether the wall should be blue or orange. No, you don't take that call. But if it really matters, you do. Clients got to matter. They got to come first. And trust me, they will come to you. And here's a shock. Here's a huge one. You're not going to believe the numbers to which this is true. It's one of those come in close and hear me moments, okay? The number of these people, no matter how they first heard about you, home show, TV, radio, print, don't care. The number of them before they ever will talk to you, before they ever will communicate with you, before they ever will give you their information or become a lead, that walk on a job site that has your sign in the yard is such a freakishly high percentage, it would blow your mind. The number of referrals you get that are not classic referrals is unbelievable. And by that I mean this. Joe and Sally are building a house, or build a house with me, and they're at church, and their best friend, their Sunday school class says, hey, I want to build too. That's a traditional referral. But Joe and Sally are building a house, and Tim and Sarah, who they've never met before, see them at the job site and walk in and go, hi, we're Tim and Sarah. We saw you build it. That is a powerful referral. That is a referral that's going to be a contract right away. But that's not a traditional. The number of those referrals you get will be, believe it or not, the dramatically highest percentage you're going to get. Even if it took the TV ad to get them to do that step. Remember, marketing is not all, I bought this when I got that. There's a lot of blending and flowing through that goes to it. But if they walk on that lot, like I'll tell you, I hate you build it. You build it. So, God dang, I'm over budget here. Guy never shows up. Look at this, Phil. My daggum framer walked off, and he said, oh, I'm so glad we talked to you. I said, these, you know what Tim and Sally are doing? How fast can I get the hell out of here? Sorry, get the heck out of here. And they ain't ever calling you. That one little hiccup, unhappy client just cost you 20 grand. That happy client just made you 20 grand. You have 6 sales. Remember them all. There are details to each one. I hope I didn't go too short on any. I will make a point of trying to go in detail on each of them a little bit more. Sale number 1's a lead. Cell number 2 is presentation. Cell number 3 is closing on lender. There are instances, I will say, maybe you go ahead and give away a little bit of the ghost on the site. There's a difference between a full-blown site review and a walking it. By the way, that's another day. That close should lead to a signed agreement. Next sale is closing on the construction loan. Next is a happy client, referrals. Each one matters. Here's the most important thing. I said at the start of this, I'm going to say it again. You can't have somebody contact a lender that didn't a lead. And you can't do a presentation to somebody that won a lead. And somebody can't sign a contract that never did a presentation. 1 has to go to 2 and has to go to 3. Don't put the eggs in the oven and then try to mix in the sugar and flour. You got to put the ingredients in the bowl and follow the stages correctly. Don't try to butter the pan after you poured the batter in. You got to butter it first, then put the batter in when you're making the cake. 1 must go to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6. Remember your sales. Remember which one you're selling. Don't get scared and try to skip, and don't give away the milk for free. You have extreme value. I challenge you, and I mean this. You are the best bargain in the United States of America and thus the world. There is nothing out there that is as valuable as you. You are the cheapest, greatest, most incredible discount in existence. And if you don't believe me, tell me anything else people can do where they get the dream and fantasy of a lifetime. They have more knowledge so that they're covered with every aspect of it than anything else they'll ever do in their life. They were handheld by an absolute expert and guided through every step of the way. And they just made more money than they make in a year as a side benefit for all the other fun things. Tell me one thing in existence that's even anywhere near the realm of that truth. You have extreme value. It is a blessing that you are willing to do this for them. That said, it's only a blessing if you give 110%. Don't be afraid. Don't run scared. Don't sell scared. You are incredible. Sell accordingly. I hope this helps. Next week is going to cover how to get from here to here. And I think that's probably what my goal is going to be. Next 6 weeks, I'm going to focus on the one sale to the next. So if you feel you got enough or you're bored with this, you don't have to watch the next 6 weeks. See you soon, guys. Have a great day.